All right, this thing is live, everybody. We are on the air.
Great.
And now people are starting to join.
Great.
Those that are joining, if you can, put in maybe where you're from, where you're dialing in from. That would be awesome. Give us some context. So right now, I'm speaking to everybody live from New Jersey, the swamplands. Dustin, Eric is New York.
Yeah, we're based in upstate New York, about 20 minutes north of Albany, Round Lake.
All right, people are starting to pour in here. So the question is, on Valentine's Day, does coffee sales increase or decrease?
Well, when you market a mug and chocolate for specifically Valentine's Day, the sales go up.
Yeah, we just had a pretty incredible day for our Valentine's Day mug sale. So
Nice.
Yeah, we made 5,000 mugs, and they sold out at about 8 o'clock at night. We started selling them at 11 o'clock in the morning, and even when I shut the button off, they were still selling one every minute.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, looks like we've got Vancouver Island, SoCal. I was just there. In San Diego. I just flew back last night. We got New York, Idaho, Connecticut, Urbana, Iowa. Bam! I like it. Connecticut, New York, the UK. It's kind of, isn't it late there in the day?
yeah, we'll be looking at what, 8 o'clock at night almost?
Arizona, Belgium.
Belgium?
Oh.
We have some dedicated people here. Arizona. Nikhil took a class from General Assembly, started a company called Salad Power. All right.
Oh,
I like that name.
That's a really good name, actually. Hopefully it's trademarked, Nikhil. All right, so people are still pouring in. Give it a few more moments here. Hopefully everyone has their coffee in hand. No audio. Looks like somebody's getting no audio. Oh, my audio. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
And I can hear you fine.
Brittany, where are you from?
The audio's fixed, looks like.
Nice.
Newport Beach. Hong Kong.
Austria. Nice.
Oh, man. Worldwide.
So for those just joining, I asked if you can just put where you're dialing in from. We're definitely super excited to get this started, and we're excited that you took an hour out of your day to join for this webinar. So we're going to make sure it's action-packed with tactics and all the good stuff to help your business. Enzo, shout out to New Jersey.
Salad Power is definitely trademarked. Good
Nice.
call, good call.
Barcelona.
People are still dialing in.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll give it 3 more minutes.
Let the room fill up.
I see a hashtag Chemex.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, they're in our neck of the woods.
Are they?
Yeah, they're about an hour from us.
Okay.
I think maybe a
Chicopee
couple
area?
hours. Yeah, just stopped by there. Probably about 4 months ago, we took a tour of their warehouse there. Pretty neat stuff they do there.
Everything all of the prints you see behind me are from that trip actually, which is probably where the Chemex is coming from.
Oh, those are cool prints.
Yeah, they were really great.
I usually have a curse word here, and I swapped it out.
Oh yeah.
I try to keep it a little more professional.
Do you have like a curse word of the day that you just put up there?
It says F mediocrity typically.
Oh, nice. I like that.
A little inspiration. All right, so we got Jersey coming in. More Jersey people. People are really supporting Jersey, upstate New York. Is it Cheyenne? Bahamas. I wish I was in your
Pennsylvania.
shoes.
Eric and I have been there before.
Yes, we have.
Shout out to Texas. We'll give it 2 more minutes and we're gonna get started. I think people will just join, and we're gonna have a replay coming out afterwards. But I suggest everyone sticks around because we do have an offer, a time-sensitive offer at the end of this webinar. Special for Valentine's Day.
For your sweetheart.
I actually have my bouquet of flowers right here that I picked up, special for this webinar. No, actually, my wife would be pretty pissed. Special for her, actually.
The middle of nowhere, South Dakota. Isn't that all of South Dakota?
Ooh. Come on, man. Leave Brendan alone.
All right, we're going to give it 1 more minute.
Seattle. Eric and I will be up in Seattle April 20th for the Specialty Coffee Association. Yeah.
It's a good conference.
Yeah. Excited to meet a lot of the vendors that we work with there, and maybe make a couple of new connections.
Try a couple really good cups of coffee.
Mm-hmm. Well, Seattle's a great place for that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
While you're at it, you might as well take a trip to Portland too.
I love Portland.
Yeah, it's a good idea. We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to, yes, Dustin and Eric do work for Death. We're about to get into that right now. So we're going to do a screen share. We'll go through some slides. I want everybody on the call to be interactive. So in the chat box, if you have questions or if there's something that we skipped over, or if I mumble, please put your question into the chat box. That'd be extremely helpful. Again, this is supposed to be interactive. I want everybody on the call to get as much as they can out of this webinar. So without further ado, let me share my screen. And we will hop back on with our faces momentarily in the Q&A.
Until then.
My screen?
All right.
Does everyone see my screen?
Sure do.
Yep.
Awesome. So let me view. All right, guys. So my name is Chad Rubin. I am the CEO and co-founder of Skubana. And today we are joined by very talented individuals and very large merchants. Death Wish Coffee. I'm joined by Dustin and Eric. Please say hello.
Howdy.
Hey, guys.
So the goal of today's presentation is to talk about what's working for Death Wish. Based on the research that I've done, on top of that, Death Wish happens to be a customer of Skubana, a very large one. But the most impressive thing that I found on the net, searching very quickly before starting this webinar, was the fact that on Amazon alone, Death Wish has 11 products. And I only wish I can get my order ratio to SKU ratio to be in that mix. 11 products in a top 500 Amazon seller, along with a very, very large Shopify merchant. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I would love to have Dustin and Eric introduce themselves, their background, their story would be fantastic.
Dustin, go ahead, my friend.
Great, I'll start. Yeah, I started here actually as a K-cup packer, believe it or not, and then with a little bit of the trials that the company was dealing with the growth, we needed a handle on our inventory system. So the CEO of our company, Mike, took me on as an inventory manager and pretty much put me on Skubana to integrate that program with our company, which led me into being the inventory manager, and then after we integrated the purchase order system in Skubana to be the purchase manager. So I pretty much keep track of everything that we do inventory wise, and try to make all the analytical based decisions to replenish any inventories that we need and do correct purchasing.
Cool. Eric, what's your background?
So I've been with the company since we started. I worked in the basement alongside Mike, cutting stickers and putting them on bags and filling them all by hand. Since then, I've been working to create the supply chain to get all of our coffee from our warehouse and from our third-party roaster down to our fulfillment centers, working with them to get all of our coffee to our customers the cheapest possible way. I also run our Amazon pages, make sure all the listings stay up to speed there, make any changes necessary to make sure that we keep those listings in the top of their categories. I also do all of our retail operations, which is to say all of the sales and kind of groundwork and infrastructural stuff that's getting us into all of our major grocery trade partners right now.
So in other words, both your hands are very, very deeply immersed in the dirt.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of work here, a lot of hours.
Take out the garbage, you do the dishes, you do the laundry, etc.
No joke.
We actually do some of those things, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to get into that. I actually looked at your Amazon listings before getting started, so hopefully we'll dive into that. I saw you guys just launched the enhanced brand content as well, which we'll dive into through these slides. That sound good?
Yeah, yep. Sounds great.
All right, so from humble beginnings, do you mind you guys, it looks like you were there from the beginning, so just go through what that looked like in the beginning stages, and then we'll talk about what's working for you.
Okay. So this is a picture of Saratoga Coffee Trader. This is the coffee shop that Mike owns, and it's where Death Wish started. He was the owner of this coffee company, and he originally wanted to create an e-commerce brand that he was hoping would bring in a few $1,000s a year to just help keep the doors open at Coffee Traders, because they hadn't been doing great sales wise. So he came up with this idea. He did a lot of work to put this blend of coffee together, and so we started right out of the basement of there.
Okay.
Yep.
And so how did you know that coffee was going to hit on e-commerce?
So Mike, like I said, he's been running that coffee. He ran that coffee shop for a long time, and he had his customers continually asking him every morning for a strong coffee that was a dark coffee as well. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he just saw from his interaction with his everyday customer this a pattern for consumer demand, basically, and a void in that supply for any kind of brand that focuses on strong coffee. And he knew that e-commerce buying was the way of the future. It was the quickest way to reach a mass audience without having to hit the grocery supply chains right off the bat or do everything through his small coffee shop.
Got it. So it really comes down to listening to the customer. So he saw a problem that was, or an itch that wasn't being scratched, and decided to take it on.
Yeah, yep. And I think that's where most great ideas in entrepreneurship come from, is you find what your customers need and what will make their life easier, mm-hmm. and then you find a way to create that for them.
So 2012, did you launch a Shopify storefront right away?
Nope. Started with when Mike started, he started with a Weebly hosted site, which was nothing to look at, but he actually found that it converted pretty well because people who were coming to the site looking for strong coffee were able to find it there. So it wasn't much to look at. wasn't great for even like the analytics of conversion, but it has. It definitely helped us get out to customers in those beginning phases.
Right. So you started on Weebly, then you went to Shopify?
Yep. And then we opened up a Shopify store, and we've been working with them for the past, I would say, 3.5 years, 4 years now, maybe. We're able to customize the way the site looks, really use their analytics to dive into what works and what doesn't work. It's integratable with, your inventory system and virtually every fulfillment center in the country, so that everything is these APIs are pretty seamless at this point, where somebody can order something and it's shipped out within hours, if not minutes.
Yeah, so let's dive into the secret sauce here. So you guys decide to start Death Wish Coffee. You launch your site on Shopify. Is it you build it and they will come, or do they just start knocking on your door? Or like, let's talk about actionable steps that were taken to get traction.
So when we started this up, I would say even when we were in the before the Shopify days, Mike was adamant about spending the majority of our time reaching out to influencers. So we were doing, we had people we weren't many of us, but we had somebody whose job was basically just to reach out to bloggers and news columnists and any influencer that would be willing to try our coffee, talk about our coffee, let their audience know. Because at that point, we had an audience of maybe a couple hundred people that would come to the coffee shop, and we knew that it wasn't going to cut it to have that small of an audience. So we needed to really broaden our brand by reaching out to a lot of influencers. And we found in those early days, we found influencers that we still work with today that are an integral part of our company.
So let's talk about like social media though. So was that a big role in growing the e-commerce side of the business?
Yep. I was actually speaking with Mike about that a little bit today, and our very first sale came from Facebook ads. So he utilized Facebook ads to bring in our very first customers. He would run pretty simple like retargeted ads to anybody who's looking for strong coffee, and and that's where we got our first kind of leads from to bring people into the website.
So you got Facebook, and that was probably before they had lookalike campaigns where you can just take email addresses of your core demographic that you want to target and upload it into Facebook.
Yeah, I believe so. And that was even, some of that was even before my time, but yeah.
Well, your CPCs were probably low at that time too.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, we were happy in those days to be, hitting on a few customers a day.
Mm-hmm. And then, so you started off on Shopify, and then when did you guys make the strategic decision to also be on Amazon?
That was actually pretty early on. So that was, after these Facebook ads and the website, within probably a month or two, we actually decided that we were going to start offering a few of our products on Amazon as well, and then running like sponsored Amazon ads and targeted Amazon ads as well. So we kind of wanted to grow the website and Amazon side by side, and it has. We've looked at pretty split sales down the two platforms since the beginning.
Yeah, even still, they're running pretty even together. It's still pretty much split in half as far as the revenue between Amazon and Shopify.
Mm-hmm. And but that made sense though, because 60% of product searches happen on Amazon today. So if your revenue is, if it's 50-50 Shopify Amazon, it does go in line with that stat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the early days, if you could say one thing that changed the game for you in the early beginning, what would you say it was?
Good Morning America.
Yeah, absolutely. It was reaching out to influencers. We got picked up by a fairly influential blog. Our tenacity in reaching out to these influencers and these bloggers, you get picked up by one fairly major blogger, and then we got a call from, I believe, NPR and the BBC, and once they picked it up, it was like the next day that Good Morning America called, and once Good Morning America called, we hit a national news cycle, and then we had to make sure that we had the product and the means to actually fulfill all these orders that came in. But that was the game changer for us. That was the point where we said we can take this out of the basement and get a warehouse and start working on actually supplying this coffee on a mass level.
So that's when you realized you had something big here.
Yeah, something a little bit special. Maybe a little bit of catching lightning in a jar, but it also was fairly strategic.
But there's like so many coffee companies that are out there. Why do you think it was that you guys, was it the fact that you just put in the hard work to get that traction, or was it the brand, or what was it that got you that spot?
I think it was a little bit of both. It was definitely like the hard work to get us out there, but I think the brand is very magnetic to a certain type of personality. The skull and crossbones sticks right out, and somebody who is that type of person to be attracted to that will instantly try and get a hold of this coffee. And the branding gets people sold on it, but we also concentrated pretty heavily on the quality of coffee. So the coffee inside is kind of what sealed the deal and kept the brand going.
Got it. And so before we move on to the next slide, which is going to be the big one, which is your Super Bowl commercial. Last thing I want to talk about, because I think a lot of people on the call are like, well, how the heck am I going to get influencers? Can you describe, or can you talk about what your outreach was like the email that you wrote? Is there any kind of gold nuggets that you can share with the audience here?
What I would say is, and this was the primary responsibility of Megan, who doesn't work here anymore and hasn't for a little while now. But it really is about finding the message that you want to bring to the world. Make sure that you're telling a story that is interesting, because you can tell a blogger about your product until you're blue in the face, but if they don't think it's going to resonate with an audience, they're not going to pick it up. So I think first you have to carve out your brand identity and the story that you want to tell, and then I think you have to be relentless in sourcing anybody who will listen and kind of shouting your own story from the rooftops until you find the right people, because you could send out 100 emails a day or 200 emails a day, and you might get a couple of people that are going to get back to you. But if you do that day in and day out, eventually you're going to find somebody who's going to listen to you, that's going to have the right audience to put your brand out in front of. And I think that's kind of exactly how we did that.
Mm-hmm. Numbers game. I mean, a little anecdote on the Skubana side, when I first decided to scratch the itch of having an operational system for e-commerce sellers that can really do what it says it does, I made a list of the top 10 people that I would want to be involved in the business. And I was just hoping that one person of these high profile individuals would write back. And that one individual was Brian Lee from Honest Company, ShoeDazzle, and LegalZoom, founder of all three of those companies. I was like, you are the e-commerce sort of guru, and I really want to get you involved in this venture. And he actually ended up investing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Pretty awesome.
But
so
I
it just takes that extra step, right?
Yeah, you see that power of, you have to plan it out, and then you really go for it, and you can't get discouraged.
Cool. So one of the things I want to just point out, there's a website called BuzzSumo, which I use to find influencers, at least on our side. BuzzSumo is a great resource to find influencers with high Twitter profiles, with a lot of followers, and just is one little nugget that I can share as we move on in this deck.
Nice. I'm actually going to take note. I'm taking note of that myself right now.
All right, so let's talk about the Super Bowl. So can we talk about, for those that don't know, you guys mind sharing the fact that you guys had a Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2015, we entered a competition called Small Business Big Game competition, set up by Intuit QuickBooks, and it was 150,000 small businesses of under 50 people who joined, and it was basically a voting contest over the course of 4 months or so. And with the support of our community and our kind of rabid followers, we ended up beating out all 150,000 small companies, and we won a totally paid for free advertisement, 30-second spot in Super Bowl 50. So, which is, I mean, just the most incredible thing that can happen to a small group of people with a dream, So, I mean, a lot of hard work, but certainly paid off.
And at that time, when that Super Bowl commercial hit, we were only 12 people working here. I mean, we're still only 20 people, but it's such a huge opportunity. That's easily the smallest company that has ever had a Super Bowl commercial, probably the smallest company that will ever have a Super Bowl commercial.
And do you remember how many followers you had at the time and what that looked like? Like, was it your followers on Instagram or Facebook that got you to rise above the other 15,000 small businesses?
It was, I would say it was our email list. Was the biggest component, but I would say our Facebook followers were a close second there. And probably at that time we were looking at around, I would say, no more than 150,000 followers on each of those. So it's they were probably pretty similar. It's probably around 150,000 Facebook followers we had at that time, and we probably had around between 120 and 150,000 email subscribers as well.
All right, so let's just dive into that. You said email subscribers. Yep. What are you like? How is email working for you? What technology are you using for email, and are you doing anything with email automation?
Yeah, we're using a company called MailChimp, and they kind of give us a platform for our newsletter. Newsletter being our strongest tool even to date. Goes out every Thursday, and it alerts our customers about new products coming up, new releases, and it also is a platform for our content. Any blogs or podcasts that we're doing are tied to that newsletter. Now it's about 350 to 400,000 strong.
Damn,
so
wow.
Yeah, we're always really focused on growing that number too. Even when we went out to New York Comic-Con, the main goal was to capture as many email as possible. Because I mean, I talked to Taya about this. She runs the newsletter here at Death Wish, and the idea is that not everybody will always have a Facebook. Instagram won't always be around, but everybody will always have email. So it's just one sure way to reach out to your customers.
And do you send like typically one email a week, or is it? What's your flow? What's the cadence?
Yeah, like I said, it's every Thursday. For sure. Every Thursday morning, we have that newsletter go out with either a freebie tied to every purchase or maybe a release of a new mug. And then sometimes on Tuesdays, if we have an extra release or if we have extra content, we'll squeak out a second email in a week. But that's only seldom.
Got it. So I know on the Crucial side, my end, we're using Klaviyo. It's like email marketing. It's kind of like MailChimp plus some automation, so you can do targeted segmentation towards like your biggest spenders or most frequent spenders.
Yeah, we have some targeting within MailChimp too, to kind of be like, well, if we have a K-Cup sale, we will target our customers that specifically buy K-Cups from us, and then the rest of the newsletter subscribers will get maybe more of a content-based newsletter.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And then are you guys using any traditional marketing? Like right now, there's been a movement away from traditional marketing, and I see that as a massive opportunity. So direct to consumer mailings. Are you guys doing anything on that end because it's so cheap right now?
We haven't, but we've it's one of the things that our marketing team has been talking about a little bit lately. And we have Alyssa, who joined our team late last year, said that she's had some tremendous success with that in the past. So I actually have a meeting with some of our USPS reps sometime later this week, and we're gonna revisit that.
Yeah, it's totally undervalued right now. Like everyone's like, oh, no one looks at those things anymore, so it's dirt cheap. And so I believe that that's a great way that's being underutilized to sort of segment and to direct market to your customers. That's one of the reasons why I decided to have Zapier. I don't know if you ever heard of them. It's like a Zap. So it's an if-then rule that you can set up. So on Skubana, for example, we integrate with Zapier. So like every time an order gets shipped, you can have the address go into a spreadsheet and use that for your direct marketing, right? For your postcards or whatever you're going to send to those customers. I bet you guys didn't know about that, did you?
I know Eric's writing it down right now.
I'm writing it down. Yeah.
The other thing, by the way, just the other thing I think that's also being underutilized is text messaging. So I don't know. I just ordered off Seamless Web last week, and they texted me saying like, "Razzle dazzle, your order is now being like magically produced." And so with Zapier, you can do the same thing. Every time a shipment happens, you can have a text message going to your customers. It's just another contact point, and it's one that they're actually not even expecting, but very, very relevant.
Yeah, I actually personally haven't really thought about that too much, but I will bring that up. I mean, we always try to do, with all of our marketing, we try to kind of walk that fine line between, you want to make sure that you're not pushing people away too hard. And actually, part of what I had written down about the SuperBowl ad is like we when we needed to win that competition, we doubled and tripled our emails going out to customers weekly. And we knew that it was going to push some people away, but we had kind of made a conscious decision that we were going to do our best to reach out to all these people consistently and accept within like certain metrics that people were going to be kind of dropping off. So it's like you just got to a certain degree, it's a balancing act between getting people a lot of information and not overburdening them so that they don't want to have anything to do with your company anymore. So, and that it can be tricky to figure out sometimes. I mean, early on, you're thinking, hey, maybe we can send out an email every day, and then you start seeing that maybe there's more people dropping off than you'd like to see, and it's time to back it off a little bit. So,
yep. So before we move on, what is the next thing that's going to put you over the edge? Like, is there any next initiative or next thing that's going to take your company from where it is today to the next level, to level up?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's our cold brew coffee line right now. So we've got this really excellent nitrogenated cold brew can that is awesome looking that we're working on. And I think that's going to be the next thing that we're going to be able to really utilize our brand with. I think that this is what can put us out in front of everybody. I think we can find the right distribution and put this on shelves all over the country. And it's an instant consumable. So it's where people are buying coffee right now, even like K-Cups, which is like a quick cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be that product that goes out and says, grab it off the shelf, drink it cold right now, get a couple of them, and if you've ever thought about trying it, you don't have to bring it home and utilize it. You just grab it on the shelf and go. I think that's going to kind of revolutionize our brand as it stands right now.
Awesome. That's one of the perks we have here in my office. We actually have our fridge stocked with not only beer, but with cold brew coffee. So I can't wait till you guys launch that. So let's talk about the aftermath. What happened after that Super Bowl commercial? And also let's talk about, I mean, look, it's rosy, but there's definitely some growth challenges with that. So if you can kind of talk about the opportunities that were had, but also sort of the challenges or the shortcomings.
Sure. So, I mean, not even just the aftermath for it, but just all of the planning leading up to it was really tricky for us because we were a really small company. We didn't have the luxury of overproducing to the point of letting coffee go stale. But we also had to make sure we had enough of our products in the channels they needed to be so that when this advertisement hit, that people were going to be able to get our coffee and get it quickly. We didn't want stuff going on back order. But there were supply challenges. I mean, we were scattered into 4 different warehouses at that point. We had utilized a couple different roasters, some of which were not the best to communicate with. I think that presented a lot of challenges. I mean, same thing, even just like to plug you guys at that point, we had no real good idea about like what our raw inventories look like and our supply inventories look like. So there were issues with us having enough bags, having to use multiple suppliers and vendors to get product so that we could even just put the coffee out. And consistency is key with a brand. And when you've got a few different vendors making your bags for you, things look differently across the board. And that's not something that we ever really tried. It's not something that we want to convey to our customer.
Yeah, and to back up what Eric says, I mean, I was on the production side at that time, And speaking about bags specifically, there was no tracking whatsoever of our raw material inventory. So we get to a point where we run out of K-cup bags, and that vendor has a 4 to 10 week lead time. Now you're 4 to 10 weeks out on a bag that you need right now. So, we were dealing with situations where we were just buying a blank bag and throwing a sticker on it, so that consistency was lost a little bit. So we had to figure out a way to start tracking that and making conscious decisions about when to buy more raw materials and not overstock our warehouses.
Right. But can you paint for the audience what the before and after photo looks like? Like the Super Bowl aftermath for you is kind of like the Shark Tank effect for others.
Oh yeah. So I mean, we went from, for the next 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, we were looking at around 10 to 15 times the regular volume of sales, which is pretty crazy. And then it leveled off at somewhere between 3 times to 5 times the sales volume. So even after the Super Bowl, hoopla had kind of faded out a little bit, we still had to manage with this like incredible growth spurt, like this growth plateau, I'll call it, that we had to figure out how we wanted to continue to produce. We had to figure out if we wanted to bring in more machinery, what kind of machinery we wanted to bring in, how much work we wanted to outsource versus how much we wanted to control in-house. But I mean, at that point, I really think I do think our biggest challenge was that inventory management. And, as you well know, if any piece of the puzzle is missing, it creates kind of a bottleneck in production and everything. And we just needed to find the right way to manage getting our product to our customers and making sure that it was fresh and delicious and that they would love it, and that, the marketing was there and the customer service was right behind it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm glad that Skubana is able to solve that choke point for you. I do want to dig into, you said about outsourcing or what to keep in house. Can you just talk to me a little bit about what you keep in house versus outsourcing, if at all, anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we work with right now we work with one other toll roaster who helps us. It's a roaster that's basically right down the street from us, but we don't even have we wouldn't have the roasting capacity to even fill all that stuff at the point of the Super Bowl. Now we've brought in some more machinery that will allow us to kind of expand our production on that line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, I came to visit you guys. Your operation was very impressive. The kind of machinery that you had on the K-cup side, the roasting side, I was just like, wow, this is like Disneyland for coffee enthusiasts.
Yeah. Well, it's better now. We just got some really cool machines in, even over the past couple of weeks. So if you come back up and visit again one of these days, we'll show you around. We got a whole new warehouse. We've got enough space now. We've got, working on, Dustin has been working on the barcoding system, so that we can just seamlessly track every single piece of inventory that we have. Inventory makes production, makes sales. So that's,
Well, let's look at this slide. I want everyone on this webinar to look at this slide. These numbers are staggering. 307,000 likes on Facebook, 40,000 on Twitter, 6,000 Pinterest. I didn't even put Instagram on here, but I think you guys are up there.
We're at 94,000,
almost at 100,000 now.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you getting people to tell your story on these channels? Like, there's a lot of people on this call that are like, how can I get my numbers this big? How can I get my numbers this big so quickly? And I don't have the benefit of having a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Super Bowl added help if you can find a way to get that.
Well, which one is working right now? Which social media platform is working for you and driving revenue, not likes?
I think Instagram right now has actually got our best conversion rate. But I think it's a little bit all inclusive. I think that you have to have, maybe the like isn't necessarily a converted sale, but the more you have people talking about you, the more you get your brand out there and your story out there. I think kind of in a longer term sense, you bring a lot more people around to to recognizing who you are and kind of what you're about. We like to use Instagram and Facebook to create content to give people a little bit of a look into the way that we do things around where we are. I mean, part of it is you have to tell the story. We also use a lot of humor. I mean, we utilize memes. We like to tell a lot of, kind of strong coffee jokes that I think resonates with our kind of our target demographic, and people who enjoy our brand identify with a lot of the humor that we use on our social media platforms. And if you keep people entertained, they keep coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are very, very witty, at least on Instagram particularly. My philosophy with social media has always been, like, we used to just send out promo codes on Facebook for like vacuum filters.
Yeah.
And then it kind of sprung upon me that people when they go to the elevator, the first thing they do is look at Facebook. The last thing they want to do is look at a vacuum filter that's dirty.
Yeah.
So we try to target marketing that sort of lets people escape, lets them kind of go off on a journey. And I think you guys do a really good job at that with the jabs that you put out there on Instagram.
Yeah. I think it's important. People want to be entertained. People kind of need to be entertained. And we live in the world now where you can be entertained at any corner. Anywhere you go, like you say, in the elevator, at the mall, waiting at the dentist. It's like you kind of have a billion opportunities a day to entertain a lot of people. So, I think the more you can kind of buy into that, the better you are.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at these things that you guys are selling, like the mugs or the hats. You guys are creating a really branded experience around your brand.
Yeah, the mugs themselves have been a juggernaut of sales for us. I mean, we gave our customers something collectible, something to identify with and trade with, and now it's almost watching people trading baseball cards, so it gave them something to be a little bit more involved with. And like I said, the mugs have been just absolutely killer.
So just talk to me about the killer aspect. So talk to me about the latest mug that you did today. You said you launched one today, right?
We launched one last week, I believe. We did a Valentine's Day teddy bear mug, so just kind of had like a zombie teddy bear emblem on the front, and as you can see, everything that Deneen makes is absolutely beautiful. It's handmade, and they're all customized, and so we take advantage of seasons and Valentine's Day coming up. We were like, yeah, we got to make a Valentine's Day mug, and we do every year, and it always hits really well.
Okay, so there's a lot of, just to pivot now a little bit, there's a lot of questions coming in on Amazon. We haven't talked about Amazon that much. We can't talk about e-commerce without talking about Amazon.
Oh.
So the first question is, do you guys ever use your Instagram followers to get purchases off Amazon, or are you always directing back to your Shopify store?
Right now, typically we direct everybody to our website. We try to in the vein of trying to collect and as much information and have as close of a personal relationship as possible with our customers, we tend to try to push people back to our website so that we can send them more offers and we can kind of continue to react with them. Whereas Amazon, it's not quite as easy to do a lot of that stuff. However, we are running, Taya, who's our marketing manager, has started working with Crowdly, which is something where we can still collect a little bit of information, but push people towards Amazon sales, because Amazon, as everyone knows, it's a juggernaut. People shop there that will never shop anywhere else. It's a trusted site. Their shipping is incredible. So it's like it's always going to have people that are never going to go to your website. So you have to kind of respect the fact that
I'm going to go unscripted here, guys, but check it out. I was doing some research, right? And if I go to Death Wish Coffee Company to your storefront, first of all, you have 960 feedback counts in the past 30 days, which is amazing. And you're doing it based on 11 products on Amazon. Like, I wish my SKU to order ratio was like this. I have 1,800 products on Amazon.
Wow.
You guys have 11, and like when I look you up on Marketplace Pulse, right, you're top 500 on Amazon. You're like 503 or 571. So to me, that's remarkable. It's like really impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you. I appreciate it, and we appreciate it. The funny thing is, starting from where I started, when I was working in the basement, I had never used Amazon. I never even ordered anything off of it. So to be where we are now is pretty incredible, and I think it speaks to kind of the strength of our brand.
So on Amazon, like so 11 products, are you guys doing sponsored ads at all?
Not right now. We do utilize them occasionally. We've used like AMS services occasionally. We've done some of the sponsored ads. I like to run lightning deals fairly regularly. We use their subscribe and save program.
Right. That's still I think that's in beta, right?
It's in beta for most FBA sellers, I believe. But I think they're rolling out. I think they're rolling it out pretty soon, I believe. So I mean, I don't know entirely, but rumor has it. So
nice. Okay, cool. For those that have replenishable goods, it's a good thing to look at. The other thing I want to point out for those that are still here on the call and engaged, there's going to be a nice offer at the end for those that stick around. But if we scroll down to Deathwish's listing, you can see they're using enhanced brand content. And so this is something new that was launched about a week and a half ago from Amazon that allows you to really tell your story on Amazon far better than just the text that was provided to you in the product description.
Yeah, this was something Eric worked really hard on, actually.
Yep. Yeah, I'm one of my goals over the next month and a half is to get everything moved into that brand enhanced content. I think it's going to be super important.
Yeah, it's super important. I mean, the idea is that you want to get people to the buy box as best as and at the quickest, most efficient way possible. So by telling your story, when people scroll down, gets them to go to click that gold button right here.
Yeah.
So touche on getting on top of enhanced brand content in a very early stage.
Thanks.
The last thing to mention, by the way, for those listening, is that this enhanced brand content is not SEO. So this does not impact, at least right now, the SEO on your page. What's going to impact the SEO on your page is the featured bullet points and the title and the keywords that you're using in the back end. Just FYI. All right, so getting back into this slide, view, present. Can we talk about where else you're selling?
Yeah, I mean, so we work with a lot of local companies to get different types of consumables out there. As you can see on the picture, Albany Distilling created a vodka with our coffee, which is a separate company entirely. We don't actually sell the vodka ourselves, but this helps get our brand out there a little bit more. Another example of that would be Rad Soap, who makes a soap with our coffee, and we have a beard balm company that makes beard balm with our coffee. So we like to work with a lot of small local companies to kind of help get our brand out there and expand us a little bit more.
And how consistently are you launching these new or limited edition products? And what does that process look like to a new product?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of research and development that goes into it, and some of the products have come about because we've used some of these partners for other things, and we just kind of realized that it might be. And some of it we just did because we thought it might be a cool product to do, one time, and they were so successful that we've kept them around. We've also had, people like Rad Soap who contacted us and said that they wanted to do something like that. And we try to be a little bit selective about who we work with and, and what the product's going to be, because we want to make sure that when we put our name on something, it's going to be something that reflects our brand and kind of maintains our quality standards. I mean, I would say with like the coffee, vodka, and everything, I think it's probably one of the coolest items we have, outside of like our own lines of stuff. So,
but in terms of where you're selling, though, so you sell on Amazon, you sell on Shopify.
Oh yeah.
Other marketplaces?
Yeah, I mean, we've joined up Walmart. We've joined Jet.com as well. We actually have like a 1P relationship with Jet.com, which is their kind of direct wholesaling program. On top of that, we've also gone live in about I want to say it's like around 480 stores now altogether. Almost 300 of them out in the Northern California and Hawaii area through Safeway, and then Price Chopper and Hannaford, and then we've got a few other fairly major grocery chains that we've been chatting with about getting onto shelves. And I think grocery shelves are important for any grocery product. Even if e-commerce is kind of the wave of the future, there's still just a ton of shoppers who, they go to the store to get what they need. And, until that changes a little bit more, it's like, it's, worth trying to get out there as much as possible.
Yeah,
And
so two things.
Specifically for us, sorry, to just touch a little bit more on retail. Eric and I have talked a lot about how important retail will be for the future of this brand, but looking at our sales during the holidays when we double and triple up on our sales is because we make a really good gift product. Therefore, when it comes closer to Christmas and you get a lot of those last minute shoppers, we saw the sales go through the roof on our retail side. So it just kind of seemed a lot of evidence to really back us up on our motivation to get out on those retail shelves.
Nice. So just side note, Skubana now supports EDI, which handles brick and mortar retail stores. Just side note, write it down. So now we support SPS Commerce, which will funnel all those EDI orders, those retail orders into the system, along with a company called Crossfire EDI. So something to mention. So look, guys, we're nearing the end here. So I want everyone to get their questions ready. The next slide here is just what you're using to run your business. If you don't mind just speaking to a couple of these so people understand what you're using to run your business today.
Sure. Bold down there specifically, we use a lot to develop apps for our Shopify page. So when we have like giveaways that we set up on our newsletter, Bold Apps developed an app that has like a gift add-on. So people will see in their shopping cart that they're getting a free gift with every purchase. It kind of ups our sales there. And Viral Sweep has been really good to catch a lot of leads, to capture those emails for our newsletters through contests on Facebook or any of our other social media platforms.
Okay, and Skubana?
Yeah, Skubana is the top for me. We're using Skubana a lot for obviously overhead view of all of our inventories across all of our e-commerce channels, and a lot for especially for me personally through our purchase order systems, which really gives us traceability and helps us make intelligent decisions on buying through other vendors, and also just gives us one thing I really liked about Skubana when I started using it. We had a lot of issues with overselling. So we talked about our mugs, which are collectible, and we can only make so many. So when we oversell something like our mug, we then have to call up our customer and tell them that they're not actually getting the thing that they paid for, which is probably, to me, one of the worst things ever. So Skubana really gave us a hold on our inventory and how that goes out. So, I mean, there's been absolutely no overselling ever since we integrated Skubana, and I really got a hold of everything. So it's been wildly successful on that end.
Great. I don't pay you to say that, so I really appreciate it. I do want to talk a little about what we're using as well on the Crucial side. So just to share value with people on the call. So we're using like Slack for internal communication. For outsourcing, we use something called Upwork.com. We're using Klaviyo, like I said earlier, for email automation. We're using something called Returnly. Now, I don't know how many people are returning coffee beans, but we get a lot of people requesting to make returns often. And so we have this automation tool or app that connects into Shopify to automate that. Another one I like is Yapo, which is for reviews. So we collect reviews. And then lastly, last and not least, we use Cart Rocket for a pop-up. Again, it's not operations, but it's marketing based, and it helps us add people to our newsletter list.
Awesome.
So yeah, Skubana, obviously I brought Deathwish on the call because they are using our platform to run and automate their entire business. I think we've been instrumental to their growth, and they certainly have been instrumental to our growth and getting the word out about other people using our software to run their business. Here's just a few slides of sort of what we do: inventory, right, order processing, purchase order automation with algorithmic purchase orders that are created awaiting your approval. We have analytics that will literally blow your mind. So you can see profitability across every SKU in every marketplace that you sell on, including Amazon FBA. And then, of course, for those that really want to get a look at my back end of how I'm running my business and automating my business, my Valentine Sweetheart Special offer, I'm going to allow 10 people on this call to see how I run and automate my business with Skubana. Please apply right here. The password is caffeine, and check it out. And on top of that, I wanted to give you a one-time offer from Deathwish. Guys, feel free to share it. So we're doing a $3 off all Deathwish products using the code Skubana. Certainly buy one for your husband or wife. I think it's a great Valentine's gift to get people caffeinated. And so let's just see if there's any Q&A that we can attend to. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to turn on our beautiful faces here. And so guys, if you have any Q&A that you want to put into the chat box, please feel free. We'll get to any questions that we can. I don't see my face there. Right. There I am. Okay, awesome.
There we go.
There we go. Someone said, why Shopify over WooCommerce?
I know we're looking at possibly making a move, depending on how much we're being charged per transaction, all that kind of stuff. I can't really speak to why the decision was made originally to go with Shopify. I think that was something that Mike thought about a few years ago and looked good. It was fairly customizable. I don't know if you've got any better insight on what you do, Chad.
Yeah, look, I am on Magento and I'm on Shopify, and one of the reasons why I made the move to Shopify was the ecosystem. So the app ecosystem. It's the same reason why Skubana has an app store, right? We have an ecosystem that allow you to extend the functionality and scale quicker, and that's something that I prefer on Shopify. Someone asked, is Skubana an ERP system? The answer is yes. It's an operational platform to run your business. What was the relationship with Jet.com? Somebody had asked.
Yep. So Jet.com, we do like a 1P relationship. So think close to like Vendor Central. So it's basically a direct wholesale. And I will say that we did utilize Vendor Central for a little while, and we found it not to be great. So we pulled out of it. So far, Jet's systemization has been a lot easier to deal with.
Yep. Yeah, we actually did a little Vendor Central as well and had those same experiences.
That seems to be fairly universal.
A little messy.
On the Jet side, I know that they same kind of thing. It's kind of like an invite only. I don't think they've necessarily taken on anybody, but I mean, with us, we kind of lucked out that they were really looking for like a stronger coffee brand to bring in as they grew that platform. So we fit in nicely with them and just kind of worked out the right details.
Someone asked, what was the program that you used to handle returns? It's Returnly, Return LY. What Facebook content led to most sales early on? So this is for you guys. Was it right hooks immediately, or did you jab, jab, jab beforehand?
Early on, I don't know if we had the concept of jab, 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 right hook. I think we just threw a lot of haymakers. I would, I didn't do a whole lot of the Facebook content early on, and actually the content, it wasn't much of content. It was probably repurposed memes and that kind of stuff early on, and the advertising. Now we find that if you can create really, really helpful content and get people engaged and have a relationship where they trust the information that you're presenting them, they're and I don't know the exact percentage, but they're a lot more likely to buy from you when the time comes to make that purchase.
All right, so we got more coming in here. What would you say the advantage of Skubana over Channel Advisor? So, well, there's a very big difference, right? Channel Advisor is a listing tool that lists your products to the channels. Skubana is an operational platform to run and automate your entire business. We will have listings in 2017. They are coming, and they're in our roadmap, so stay tuned. It says here, how do your sales split between Jet, Walmart, Amazon, Shopify?
Well, we talked earlier, Amazon and Shopify are pretty head-to-head as far as sales go. There are big juggernauts on the stage, but you know, a little bit comes in from Jet. Walmart we just started on, so I mean, compared to what we're getting from Amazon and Shopify, Walmart and Jet aren't even close. So I would say 49 Amazon and Shopify, with everybody else in the 2% almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I have the complete opposite. Like right now it's Amazon, it's my own storefront, and then it's Walmart. And Walmart is like 15 to 20%. It's just massive.
Wow.
Maybe it's because of vacuum filters versus coffee.
I think Walmart will grow, and I mean Walmart and Jet just merged pretty recently. Yep. So, I mean, I think as both of those platforms, I think in the future we will see them take up. I'd like to get them, maybe not 15, but I mean I wouldn't be surprised to see them at like 8 to 10% within the next year or so.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, Chad, you mentioned leaving Magento. Why? I still am on Magento with Crucial Vacuum, but I built my next generation platform on Shopify. I firmly believe that in order to build a next generation e-commerce platform, you need to use next generation e-commerce tools and solutions. And I just believe that Shopify, I was spending a lot more of my time doing development and dealing with developers than actually running my business. So that's why we decided on Shopify. Very simple. The app that captures shipping addresses and putting them into spreadsheets. Yes, for direct mail, that would be Zapier or Zapier, however you pronounce it. Oh, I see somebody in the background there.
That's our research and development and operational guru, John, there.
Making a debut. We will be sending out this webinar for a replay.
Cool.
Everyone here has to jet. Guys, I really appreciate your time. We're on the hour. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Really appreciate it. And have a great Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Cheers.